Welcome to the Foundation's Conversations at Home program. I'm Tangcay, Senior Austins Editor at Variety. The Foundation has set up a COVID relief fund in order to support thousands of union performers who are going through tough times. Since March, thanks to your donations, the Foundation has given over $6.5 million in emergency aid to more than 7,000 performers and their families. If you are a SAG-AFTRA member and need help, please ask. And if you can help, please give. Information can be found in the description of this video, and thank you for your support. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Billy Porter from Pose. Hello and welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I am so excited. Actually, no, I'm sad to talk to you today. I'm going to dive into Take Me to Church, that episode.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what a goosebumps just thinking about it. But just talk about filming Take Me to Church, because there was so much to unpack.
Yeah, well, I have for my entire life known that I stand at the intersection of this conversation between the Black church, specifically the Black church, but the church in general, and the LGBTQ plus community. And after season 1 of Pose, Ryan Murphy asked me, what stories I was interested in telling. And one of the first things that came up, I was during the whole Kavanaugh, Supreme Court situation, when they were sort of raking I think her name is Kristen Blasey Ford, across the coals, raking her over the coals because she couldn't remember what color the wall paint was, the paint was when he was preying on her. It triggered me. And I wrote an op-ed piece about my own sexual abuse at the hands of my stepfather. And Out picked it up. I just posted it on my socials. And Out.com picked it up. And within a couple of hours, Ryan had called and said, what would you think of folding that conversation into Pray Tell? And using Pray Tell as a proxy to sort of like unpack this story. I said, yes, please. So then in between, I think season 1 and 2, he said, what other stories would you be interested in telling with Pray Tell? And I said, well, I really need to talk about the church. It's really on my heart to talk about the function that the church has played in the losing of souls, of LGBTQ souls, LGBTQ plus souls, by telling us that God doesn't love us, by weaponizing the Bible to justify their fear/hate of the other. And my whole point is, we don't have to believe the same things. I don't understand. We do not have to believe in the same things. But the conversation is not about, for me, I hate the word acceptance. I hate the word tolerance. I don't need any of that, because that's energy from the outside to validate my existence. I'm not doing that anymore. The demand is for the respect of my humanity. I'm a human being first, just as we all are. And if we don't understand and learn that we are greater and better as human beings because of our differences, we're going to destroy ourselves. We're going to implode and destroy ourselves, and it's all going to be over. Period. It don't matter how much money you have. When it goes down, it's going down for all of us. So the healing happens inside of the conversation. Let's have these complicated conversations. I want to have it. I want to have the conversation, because for me, the real conversation in terms of religion, which for me is man-made, religion is man-made. Spirituality is divine. I learned that a long time ago. It has kept me alive. I don't believe in organized religion anymore. I just don't. That's also my right. And y'all, whoever y'all or they are, do not get to then create legislation that discriminates against me because you don't like how I'm living my grown ass life. It's my life. Don't worry about my salvation. Worry about your own.
Yeah.
These are the conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell the way that I was taught. I don't believe in that. So miss me with all of that and let's be human beings. And I think take me to church a lot, because my thing is, this is not disrespect. This is in no way being disrespectful. I honor everybody's belief structures. I honor them all. I am the man I am because of the good stuff that came from the church I grew up in. That's the reason why I can actually sit here and have this conversation and hold the church accountable. It's time to hold the church accountable, and to be in the unique position to stand at this intersection, to start the conversation is the reason why I'm on this earth.
Love that. That episode, for just to set up for the audience, the sequence that we're talking about is when, Prey talks to his mother about coming out, but more than what he's, what this issue was how she dealt with the fact of how her second husband abused his character and how she valued herself within the church rather than her family. And that was an incredible moment. Talk about, was that therapeutic to not just have that conversation on camera, in the episode, but also just to act that out on screen?
Yeah, it's been very, very healing. I knew going in that Pray Tell would act as a surrogate for my healing. I have a lot of trauma that I've been working through, trying to figure out how to work through, trying to figure out how to heal from. And, I want to read a quote to you that's one of my favorite quotes. So Toni Morrison, through this time, through this COVID time, this really, really challenging COVID time for me, I realized it was the first time that I have ever been afforded the opportunity to sit still. It's the first time that I've ever had the space to sit and reflect on myself, my life, my journey, and my healing. I lived through the AIDS crisis. As everybody knows now, as of this week, I've been HIV positive for almost 15 years. I was silent about it till 2 days ago. And I came out to the world because we are in a profound space. Humanity is in a profound space of reckoning. We have decisions and choices to make. What decisions and choices are we going to make that move us forward? Or are we going to just keep doing the same old shit? It's a question. I personally refuse to do the same stuff. I'm making a different choice. And this Toni Morrison quote has been so powerful to me because she says, "This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There's no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. That is how civilizations heal." I want to be a healer. I don't want to be a destroyer. I don't want to be toxic in this world. I want to have an energy that can be the change. It starts with me. And so this episode was so powerful because it says everything I've ever wanted to say. And it's not disrespectful of the church. It's not. It's a space that is healing for many. It's a space that uplifts many. It's community for many. And it needs to continue to be that while simultaneously being held accountable for the wrongs and the missteps. The way the LGBTQ plus community has been treated by the church is wrong. Period. And I've waited my whole life for somebody else to say it. I guess I'm the one.
It was you. I was sitting down watching that on Sunday night, 2021. First time I felt seen. It's like, been there, done that. I could totally relate. But, how difficult was it to pray when so much, and I'm thinking the finale in mind now, when so much of the story that you're telling is so personal and you've experienced it and you've seen it and you're reliving it through pray.
Well, it's like when we see reflections of ourselves, we know that we're not alone. It's like to feel what I have felt that you have seen in episode 4 of season 3. It's like that's what I have lived with internally for my entire life. I'm free. And when somebody can see, and when people who are not free can see someone with a similar journey get free, it gives those people the courage to get free themselves. Isn't that the point? For me, that's always been the point with my art. That's always been the point. I've never, I never got into this for frivolity, for fame or fortune. It's nice to make money. It's nice to be recognized. All of those things are byproducts of the industry that we're in, but I don't do it for that reason. And I'm so grateful that I was blessed enough to live long enough to see this day where the impossibility of pose. I got into the business in the 80s. Pose wasn't anything that we even had context to dream about. It was impossible. And what Pose and Pray Tell, and specifically for me, has done is it's taught me to dream the impossible and accept nothing less in my life. And that's powerful.
Yeah. Talk about shooting that finale and saying goodbye to Pray. And this will air after the finale, so we're not spoiling it.
Okay.
I'm still reeling from it, heartbroken, but talk about.
It's the truth. It is the unabashed, unadulterated truth of a time with a specific group of people that the world tried to erase. I remember going in on the day that I was shooting my death scene. And it was really, really hard for everybody. It was really, really hard for everybody. Particularly, having lived through the crisis and lost so many friends, and I sat in that room in the dark with those candles and I said, this is for that generation. I'm standing in the space and making visible the invisible. And I said, listen, it's the death of Pray Tell, but it's the rebirth of Billy. Pray Tell missed the antiretroviral drugs by a year. I didn't. And look, it is so profound to me. It's really profound to me. It's not lost on me. The impact and the power that's in it, it's not lost. And if I could just help somebody get to the other side of whatever it is they're going through, that's why I do this.
How has playing Pray help you let go of your self-doubt that you're able to share so much that you've kept inside for so long?
Art imitates life. Life imitates art. And I'm grateful that I've done enough work on myself prior to Pray Tell to understand the gift that he was to me. It was the last stretch of healing that I had to do for myself so that I can now tell a different story. Now it's time to tell a different story, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm telling a lot of different stories right now. I'm writing, I'm directing, I'm, making new music. My book is coming out in the fall, it's like art has the power to heal. And I just want to keep doing that, and that is the power of Pray Tell. I knew going in that there was the possibility of this. I just didn't know, not knowing what the scripts would be, not knowing what the storyline would be. I didn't know if in fact it would actually go there. And I'm just so grateful that the creators paid attention to all of us and trusted us to tell these stories, all of these stories. I will miss Pray Tell. I will miss him. And Billy gets to live. Billy gets to live in peace. Billy gets to live healed because of Pray Tell.
I love that. And, up next, you are going to be Fab G, the fairy godparent in
Yes.
Cinderella. I
Yes.
mean, everybody's so excited for that. I mean, talk about how you pick your roles and a little bit about Fab G, whatever you're allowed to tell us.
Well, it's interesting. I pick my roles. It's like I've only got to the season where like I have options in the last couple of years. Up until then it was like you got to take whatever comes so you can eat. So, it's just been glorious to like have the world and the space crack open for me in this way, and especially in this mainstream way, because I was told for, the entirety of my life that my queerness would be my liability in every space. And it was for a long time, for decades, until it wasn't, and so Fab G is an outgrowth of that. People are seeing the world differently. People are seeing sexuality differently. People are seeing gender differently. The conversation is shifting. It's shifting, in a major, major way. So they came to me. Kay Cannon and the writer director of the piece, she came to me and offered me the role. And inside of the concept of, this new Cinderella taking, this very old fairy tale that is problematic in many ways, most specifically with the treatment of women, and making Cinderella a modern woman with modern desires in 2021. It's like when you start there, then everything else has to fold into that concept and has to rise up to that level, and I'm just really, really grateful that I was in their consciousness and they called me and they gave me a good song and they gave me a cute outfit, which y'all have already seen because Entertainment Weekly dropped it, and for me, it's like the conversation surrounding it for me is magic has no gender. Yes, it was the fairy godmother. I say fairy godmother, but it's the Fab G. Magic has no gender. It's magic. And magic in itself is inspiring. It's hopeful and it's healing. That's what we trying to do, honey. We coming out of this pandemic and Labor Day, baby, get ready because Cinderella is just joy, joy, pure, unadulterated joy.
Which is what we need in our lives,
Yes,
right? We've been in the pandemic, we've not had joy, and
yes, we do.
Entertainment gives us that. And you talk about the entertainment industry. We're starting to have, as you say, the conversations. How are we? Do you feel like we will get there eventually, so that in 5 years, 10 years, you won't be the first. Pose won't be the first show. Like,
yeah,
even Broadway, right? We'll start to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the line from Kamala Harris. While we are definitely the first, we're most definitely not going to be the last. Because we've been imbued with the power, the skill, and the craft to move forward on our own. Every single one of us, in front of and behind the camera, every single one of us on that set. It's like the tentacles are stretching already, and it's really, my mind is blown. I have to say. And it's like I've always had huge dreams, but they were always springboarded off of something that I had already seen. And I say this all the time. Pose taught me to dream the impossible. And now I'm moving through my life dreaming impossible things because I know that impossible dreams come true. Impossible. That's from the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella. So I'm not singing that song, but impossible things happen every day. They happen every day. And I want to carry that energy with me through the rest of my life, child.
Love it. How do you decide this is what I want to do next? Whether it's a TV appearance, whether it's a movie, whether it's like I need to take time to let loose in the recording studio.
Baby, I walk through the doors, as an artist, a true artist who has been in the business for as long as I have, and is experiencing sort of crossover mainstream success in the last 5 years. I have always been the person who walks through the doors that are open for me. I remember having a meeting with a huge manager by the name of Sandy Gallen, long back in the 90s. And it was during my first sort of like record album, my R&B record. And we sat at Joe Allen and he said to me, you have to choose one thing. You can't do it all. And I said, why? And he said, because you just can't. It doesn't work that way. And I said, with all due respect, I am a Black queen. I actually use the word faggot because I'm allowed to. It's like the N word. I said, I'm a Black faggot. I don't have the luxury of choosing one thing. Because if that thing doesn't work out, I'm ass out. I went to Carnegie Mellon in drama school. I can act. I've been studying voice, classical voice, since I was 11 years old. I was in a dance company in high school. I went to screenwriting school in 2000. I started directing in 2000. I diversified my portfolio. I diversified my creative portfolio so I could eat. And now, every single one of those doors have been flung wide open. Every dream I've ever had and every space I've ever wanted to be in is happening right now simultaneously. Don't let anybody tell you no. That's the lesson. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. Believe in yourself and do it.
That is incredible advice for everybody out there, all the actors tuning into this. But, let's talk about, Broadway.
Yes.
As we mentioned at the beginning, would you like to go back to Broadway, and what would you like to do? An original, would you, if you could go back, is there an ideal role, something that you would?
Listen, here's the thing. Lola and Kinky Boots is going to be hard to top. So what I will say is, it has to be worth my time. Whatever that is. Whatever that means. And I'm open and available for when the time comes. I'm interested in directing a Broadway show. So, I'm working on that right now. And my hope is that that'll be happening soon. So I may be back on Broadway, but in a different capacity.
Watch this space. Let's talk about working with Ryan Murphy for the past few years. What did you learn from, you talked about collaborating with him to evolve Prey's character, but working with him for 3 years on this show?
First of all, Ryan Murphy was on my vision board because I wasn't getting a lot of love from film and TV. As a matter of fact, it was mostly dismissal. It was mostly dismissive. If the character description did not have flamboyantly ... in the description, I wouldn't even be seen for it. And then when I would go in the dismissive feedback would be, he's too flamboyant. I wanted to like wring necks. And so I put together a vision board probably about 15 years ago, and Ryan Murphy was on it because I was seeing his work, maybe 10 years ago, because I was seeing his work and I was like, you know, he's not afraid of powerful people. He's not afraid of powerful artists. He knows how to help us channel our energy and make the best of all of it. That's his gift. And I thought, if anybody's going to see me in this arena, it will be Ryan Murphy. So when the call came, I just knew I had manifested it. You know, I knew I was going to get it. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was like, I'm going to get this one because it's about me. It's about me. So I'm going to get it. I don't know what part. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to get it. And everything that I expected and more with him. The thing about Ryan is that he uses his powers for good always. This is the man he is. That's the kind of man I want to be. That's the kind of artist I want to be. When the door opens for him, he pulls everybody in with him, as many as he can, all the time. That's what I've learned. I always wanted to be that. I always wanted to do that. And I ended up with somebody who does it. The exact example of how I want to move forward in my life. I'm trying to be a mogul, honey. You know, I'm not, you know, it's like, yeah, job, yeah, this gig, but I want to, like, I'm building an empire here. I'm building a movement. You know, it's time. It's time. That's where I'm at. That's what I learned from him, is how to do that with grace, courage, and all the style available.
Love that. That positivity, that's what people need. They need that encouragement, that confidence, because actors, you know, the actors are watching this, so they want to know process. And, you know, what last words of advice would you give to
one of my mentors, George Wolfe, said to me in 2004, 2005, when I was deep in the valley and on the precipice of obscurity, he said, you must never wait for anybody to give you permission to practice your art. You must be doing it all day, every day, even when no one's listening. And most of the time, no one's listening.
Incredible.
Kept me alive, y'all. Kept me alive.
Billy, thank you so much for joining Conversations at Home. And thank you so much for that conversation.
You're very
Truly
welcome.
profound, incredible.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.